Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon, everyone. Okay, untuk minggu ni, actually this week we are going to have a recording class on this cross-cultural marketing on the chapter 4 regarding the consumer market and behavior lah. Okay, so this consumer behavior, as you can see on the slide, is that is one of the factor or one of the element that's very important when you talk about the cross-cultural marketing. Beyond the border of the country. So the consumer buyer behavior is one of the element before you enter any market. So you have to you have to understand how the consumer behavior on that any a certain particular market that need to be entered. Okay, that to be entered. Okay, so that's why it's very important for the marketers to understand how much is it that market is profitable enough for the marketers to enter to place their product. Okay, so that is one of the concern whenever that you study on the consumer behavior. And the consumer buyer behavior actually refer to the buying behavior of the final consumers, individuals and household who buy goods and services for personal consumption. So this is a thing that before you enter, before you go into that particular market, one thing that the homework that most of the marketers should do is to do their homework in order to understand how the consumer behavior in that particular market. They need to understand how much they spend, what is their preferences, and what kind of the target products that they are more preferred to buy, and what kind of the preference in terms of the country of origin and so on. So all of this thing is one of a thing that we need to consider as well. So as you can see that the emerging consumer market is very huge nowadays. That most of the people, they always target on US lah, China, India, as well as Indonesia, because of we know that these countries consists of a huge or large population, a very populated country that perhaps can give you a profitable enough to your business. And by spending into the other countries, for example the Asian middle class, for example, that you need to understand that it's always exceeds the Europe and North American in combined. Okay, so this is a thing which means that most people say that, oh yeah, we better go to Europe or North America, but actually the Asian middle class is considered is a very huge market for us to target as well. So other than that, the Asia is also represent half of the world's consumer spending. So this thing that we need to understand as well. So according to Karas and Fengler, that the Asian market is considered getting very huge, and the purchasing power also increase, similar and consistently with the development of the economy in the countries. Okay, and of course these are the things that most of the marketers or the company they need to take into consideration or take advantage. If the companies want to benefit from the Africa's growth in this decade, focus more into a bottom of the pyramid lah. Okay, so this is a kind of a things that when you enter the Africa's in terms of the development of the Africa. So of course you need to capture the bottom of the market. In the 2017, there were about 3.5 billion consumers in the world. So it is expected that by 2030, the number will be increased into 5.6 billion, which is 88% of the next billion consumers in will be from the Asian market. Okay, and as you can see here, this is a growth of the consumer class focus in Asia. Okay, by particular, ini depend, as you can refer to the countries. Okay, the one of the big markets that you can see here, for example, like India, China, Indonesia, and so on. So I'm sure that all of us already aware that all of these are big market due to, they are big in terms of the population, which also contribute to the market growth. Okay, so so these are the basic information that we need to look into. And this is another thing that also one of the biggest largest consumer market in the world nowadays by 2020, and you can see that the prediction in 2030, which is Malaysia, also one of the the biggest largest market in the world, in the rank here. And don't look at the ranking. Even though you can see the ranking, you of course we cannot beat China, maybe because of the the how to say, the population numbers of the population improve or increase. But try to look into the changes, okay, in changes in in consumer class, as you can see here. So of course, when you look into these classes, right, all the changes in ranking, sometimes that is also important. But to me, is a changes in class is also things that you have to really look into. Of course, China is will be to 336.9 million in terms of the class, but you can see that there is a predict, we can forecast that India are going to beat China in the future. It depend, when it comes into the changes in class, because of the change in class is very big also, 419, okay, nearly 100 million compared to China, and followed by United States. So maybe in the future, Indonesia also are going to be one of the largest. As you can see that the improvement is also huge, 75 million, and followed by, Russia, Brazil, and Pakistan, also one of the biggest, markets. And let's go into the, where is the Malaysia? Even though Malaysia is ranked last for among the, the biggest market, but in terms of the changes in class, it's not so bad, 6.9 million compared to the others lah, compared to the above country, for example, Saudi Arabia or Argentina, and so on. So this is you can see that it indicates a very, a positive growth of the, the market, in the consumer market in the world. Okay. So in terms of the cultural diverse history, how is it this influence the consumer behavior? Definitely that these also influence in terms of, so many culturally and also historically, that how our consumer market influence, because of there are many factors. Okay, for example, like MDCs, more developed countries, least developed countries, and newly industrial countries, as well as less developed countries. So all of this is, when we divided the countries, right, into a four different uh, class, four different category, depends on the growth of the economy that they are in. All of this also, we cannot run away that the all of these influences uh, impact or based on the, the impact of the micro environment, as well as the other factors. Okay, as you can see that the macro environment is consists of the products, place, price, promotion, people, process, and physical evidence. Okay, so all of this is a micro environment that also influence the consumer behavior. Not only that, uncontrollable factors, that the political, economics, law, social, and technology, which is we cannot, the development of the, the external factors also influence the consumer behavior. And of course, when it comes into the more deeper, internal factors, consists of planning, leading, organizing, controlling is also one of it, which is influence on the international marketing and global marketing. So all of these are the factors that consider a very important when comes into the, the influence of the, how is it the cultural diverse history can influence the consumer behavior. Okay. So when it comes into that, in order for us to understand the model, the consumer behavior, uh, we have to understand what is the model of the consumer behavior. So as we know that the central questions for the marketers normally is how are we going to the consumers from diverse cultural background respond to various marketing efforts of the company that might use. So we are from a different background of culture, different background of market, but we are respond into the how are we going to respond into these are various marketing efforts that implement by the company. So the marketer needs to tackle consumers black box in this case, which has two parts, namely the buyer's characteristics, influence on how he or she perceive and reacts to the stimuli, and buyer's decision process, which is affects the buyer's behavior. So in this case, the stimuli is it can be a marketing stimuli or other stimuli. Okay, so the marketing stimuli is, that is a 4 P's: product, place, price, and also promotion. But other stimuli also may affect the buyers, response here. So it can be the technology, technological, political, and cultural. So all of this, they are going into the buyer's black box. So the buyer's black box here is can be categorized into two different types of the buyer's black box. It can be in terms of the buyer's characteristics or the buyer decision process. So after they go into this buyer's black box, so then the result will be in terms of the response of the buyer. That the response of the buyer could be in terms of how the attitudes of the buying attitudes of the consumers, as well as their preferences, and also the purchase behavior, which is what the buyer buys, when, where, and how much. So all of these are the response that are going to yield or result from the consumer behavior. Other than that is the brand and company relation behavior. Okay, so these are the thing that, or the result or the outcome of the buyers after they've been influenced by the marketing or the other stimuli, okay, of the this model. And talking about this model of the consumer behavior, the marketing stimuli, which is has mentioned earlier, is consists of the 4 P's, and also the other stimuli, which is the major forces and events in the buyer's economics, namely the economic, environmental, technological, political, and cultural of the host country. So the consumer response include purchasing and loyalty of the brand. Okay, or the outcome of the brand lah, okay, in this case. So these are, as you can see, that the conclusion from the information when they do the some of the example, the main products that frequently purchased online among consumers during the COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia as by 2020. So as you can see here, the food and beverage is ranked at the top of one of the, the most preference by the consumer during the COVID-19, followed by the personal hygiene products. So of course, it's during COVID-19, this category of product is a high demand, yeah. And of course, other than that lah, you can see the alcoholic medication. These are one of the list lah. Okay, so this is just to show you to understand how the consumer behavior that during the certain situation. Of course, after the COVID-19, maybe the preferences is different. Okay, and these are the characteristics which is affect the consumer behavior. So the characteristic is, there are 4 characteristics that factors influence the consumer behavior here, namely the cultural, social, personal, and psychological. So of course, all of these, the 4 factors, of course, they are elements of each characteristics. Number one is the cultural, which is you can consider as in terms of the culture itself, the subculture, and also the social class. Also the same with the social, which is you need to understand of the reference group of the social. What are the family and also the role status? Okay, all of these also affect of the bias as well. In terms of the personal factors, this is consists of the age and life cycle stage, okay, of the consumer, the occupation, okay, of the buyers also affect their buyer's decision, and also the economic situation, okay, at what status they are economically, and the lifestyle as well as the personality and self-concept of the buyers. And finally is the psychological. Okay, so this psychological consists of the motivation, perception, learning, and beliefs. Okay, these are the factors that also affect the consumer's behavior lah. Okay, so this is one of the the example by Starbucks where they do the promotional brochure. So how they consider of the brochure of the Starbucks here. So the elements of the information portrayed in this promotional aid by the Starbucks. Okay, so these are the brochure in general, which is initiated by Starbucks. So you can see that what kind of the the information that they put in together into their promotional, which is they promote the the belongingness, the family connections. For example, it also a place for kids or children to have fun, and also for you to have a gathering, for example, and also others. Okay, instead of you also having enjoy the food or the product of the Starbucks. Okay, so that is one of the message. And of course, talking about the other one of the when it comes into this bias decision process, or is we need to understand of the stages of the adoption process, which are consists of 5 stages of adoption process, starting from awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption. So I think that you all already know what is the awareness, which is there is must be aware of the product available, and then but still a lack of the information because of that the product is exists, but you don't know what it is. Okay, so the second one is when the consumer is already they're aware, and when they have an interest, they are starting to they begin to seek the information about the product. So this is when they have initiate in order to search for the information, then there will be the interest is erased here. And after that, after they got all the information, they going to evaluate the information that they gather, and to consider whether they're trying the new product makes sense for them. So this is the purpose of the when they do on the next stage, which is a trial. After they already want to try or not, then they go into the next stage of trial, where the consumer tries the new product on a small scale to improve his or her estimation of the value for the product. And after that, then they started to adopt the product. So this is the stages of the product lah, which is when the adoption process, the consumer is decide to make a full, of the product, full acceptance of the product lah. And this is the buyer decision process for the new product. Okay, so the buyer's decision process, as you can see here, for the new product, especially for the consumer, will be divided into 5 different adoption of innovation among the consumers here, which is starting from the innovators, early adopters, early, majority, late, and laggards. So as you can see that innovators, which is only account about 2.5%, which is these innovators, orang, how to say it, one is a new person, which is they are the beginner to start the new things. So they try new ideas at some risk. They don't know whether this the trial, the first trial will be whether that is successful or not. It depends on these innovators. Innovators are the one who are going to face this the product. The second one, the second category is early adopters. So the early adopters, guided by the respect, they are opinion leaders in their communities and adopt new ideas early but carefully. That's why the rate of these early adopters is about 13.5%. Okay, and followed by early majority, which is 34%, same as a late majority. So at this early majority and late majority, normally they are rarely leaders. They are not normally leaders. They are just a follower. So they adopt new ideas before the average person. Followed by the late majority, which is skeptical. Okay, which is they are late in order to accept a new innovation. They adopt an innovation only after a majority of people have tried it. Okay, and finally is laggard, which is left behind, are tradition bound. They are very very late, and they are very skeptical in order to accept. Okay, and they are very suspicious of changes and adopt the innovation only when it has become something of the tradition itself. So these are the process, yeah, for the buyer decision for the new product, which is for the marketers to understand, this kind of the categories. Okay, so that's all for chapter 4. Thank you very much.